Kinds of Kindness is the latest anthology film that's written and directed by your boy Yorgos Lanthimos. Yes, I know his name is not actually Yogurt. What do you think I am? And can we just take a second to acknowledge how hard this man has been working as of late? Because obviously he came out with Poor Things last year, Kinds of Kindness this year, and now he actually has another film in the works, I believe, coming out next year, starring a lot of the same people like Emma Stone, who have been in his films recently. This man is working his ass off, he is grinding, and I am all here for it. Because Kinds of Kindness is Yorgos Lanthimos going back to his really weird shit. I mean, obviously he always has that, bizarre, quirky, weird element to all of his films, including Poor Things, and even The Favorite has, some of that shit in it. But Kinds of Kindness goes back to his earlier works like Dogtooth and The Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Lobster more than stuff like The Favorite and Poor Things. And arguably, Kinds of Kindness is weirder and more bizarre than any film that he's made. And again, I say arguably because I can see people not really agreeing with that. But Kinds of Kindness is really pushing more boundaries into abstraction more than any of his films. And what I mean by that is that thematically and narratively, there's a lot less clarity and it's a lot more head-scratching than I think any of his movies. Because even with his really weird shit like The Lobster and The Killing of a Sacred Deer, I felt like in terms of theme and in terms of symbolism and even narrative, I had a decent grip of what he was going for. With Kinds of Kindness, it was a bit challenging and in some ways a bit perplexing in terms of what exactly he was trying to say and what he was trying to achieve. But that's something that I really loved about the movie because it really challenged me intellectually in a way that I feel like I haven't been challenged in cinema for a long time. And even beyond that, I feel like I didn't have to understand almost anything that this movie was trying to convey to the audience. And I still just had a great time with it because it's darkly humorous. I mean, in some ways, morbidly humorous, but also just so incredibly surreal and off-putting and unsettling. And again, finding a way to incorporate humor into all these weird and dark elements of filmmaking that I thought just really, really worked. And this film is undoubtedly going to be more divisive than his previous work, Poor Things. I mean, Poor Things, to me, is a lot more accessible of a film than Kinds of Kindness. I know that might sound weird because even Poor Things is a little bit off its rocker. But Kinds of Kindness is definitely more of a boundary-pushing movie and is a movie that is going to push some people's buttons, it's going to test their patience. And again, it's basically 3 hours long. And again, it's just, to me, it's the most Lanthimos movie that Lanthimos has ever Lanthimosed. And again, I don't know if everybody's going to agree with me on that, but this just seems like him doing what he really, really loves to do, which is make people feel really uncomfortable, really confused, and also just make people laugh, whether it's awkward laughter or genuine laughter. And as I mentioned, this is an anthology movie, so it's split up into 3 different stories that are all probably roughly around 45 minutes, maybe to an hour each. And they all contain the same cast. So you have Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe, Margaret Qualley, and Hong Chow. They're present in every single story, but they play different characters, what seems to be in a weird alternate reality in each one. And there's this one character named RMF that maintains the same identity throughout all the stories. And he serves as some kind of what I think to be a metaphorical beacon to kind of, in a way, tie things together in an awkward way. And just to give a very, very light description about every single story. Again, very light and very simplistic way to describe these. The first one is about a relationship between a corporate worker and his boss. The second one is about a cop and his wife. And the third one is about a cult. I'll just say that. And every single story is so peculiar in its own way. It's so dark in its own way. And thematically, they have their own thing going on or some kind of message going on. What those messages are, I'm not even completely sure right now. Just my first thoughts in terms of what I think thematically some of these films are going for. The first one I think has something to do with, it's kind of like an exaggeration of the fixed conformity of corporate life in America, or really just like the working class culture in America. And the second one, I probably has to do with domestic abuse and trauma and paranoia. And the third one has to do something with, because again, it revolves around a cult, so I think there's something about the obsession of purity. But I don't want to say too more. I feel like I've already said too much, but no matter what I say, it's nothing like actually watching this movie and experiencing it for what it is. So the performances all across the board are just so fucking fantastic. Emma Stone obviously kills it. I love how much she's challenging her willingness and her dedication to her art form. She's really just giving it her all, and I'm really happy to see her in these kinds of projects. I mean, same with really everybody else, but like we know that like Willem Dafoe is gonna kill it every time. We know that this man is a national treasure and just loves making movies like this. I mean, this, you could just tell like Willem Dafoe loves the art of cinema so much. And he especially loves making like really artful and weird and boundary pushing movies like this that make people uncomfortable. Jesse Plemons is also in this movie and he fucking kills it. I think he has the most screen time out of really anybody in this movie. And Jesse Plemons in general has this very nonchalant way of acting that really, really works in a lot of the projects that I've seen him in. And I think with the Yorgos film, it works especially well because, again, like in a lot of Yorgos' early works, like The Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Lobster, a lot of the characters speak and vocalize in this very wooden and nonchalant type of way. And I think in terms of the casting of putting someone like Jesse Plemons into this project is basically perfect, because I think he is great at what he does when it comes to that. But yeah, it's that kind of wooden and a bit monotone delivery that, you know, us Lanthimos fans at this point are very familiar with. That, again, it does a great job at creating this awkward and surreal type of atmosphere and world that immediately just makes the audience feel uncomfortable. Because they are just saying so many off-putting things and environments where they shouldn't be saying these things. And the most morbid and outrageous things will come out of their mouth and they deliver it like it's normal conversation. Just like pretty much every Yorgos movie I can think of, this film does not hold back with its sexuality either. You know, going into this, I heard that the sexuality was pretty hardcore, and in a way it is. I wouldn't go in expecting like, you know, so much. I mean, honestly, Poor Things has a lot more sexuality in it than Kinds of Kindness. But I think the sexuality in this film catches you off guard more, and it's a little bit more, like, in some ways more explicit. And the way that Lanthimos depicts sexuality in most of his movies is always so unsexy in a lot of ways. And I think the reason why he loves doing that is because I feel like he loves exploring and showcasing the human condition and just like human behavior in this very like exaggerated or even unexaggerated ways to the point it feels stilted, to really, again, like get people to understand how weird we are as human beings. Because being human in terms of our desires and our urges and our thought processes and the way that we socially communicate with other people is just really fucking weird. And I love that Lanthimos uses just really, like, again, like satirical and awkward way of expressing this nature of ourselves. But I really am a sucker for weird cinema, because Beau is Afraid was my favorite film last year, and that film was quite divisive for valid reasons. But something about just the oddness and weirdness and the bizarre nature of humanity and just ourselves being showcased in film format, and if done right, like it really hits the sweet spot. Which is again why I really love late night Adult Swim programming. But anyways, with all that being said, I'll give Kinds of Kindness a soft 9 out of 10. Like a rainbow in the dark. A rainbow in the dark. Just understand that my rating is a reflection of my taste and my biases towards liking this kind of cinema. I think another reason why I really love stuff like this is because it's just a lot of filmmakers that tackle this kind of style, it just really comes off so original and unique. Like after you watch Kinds of Kindness, it doesn't matter if you're a film lover or just a casual audience member, you're going to walk out of this film feeling like you haven't really seen anything quite like it. The only thing you'll be able to compare it to is perhaps another Lanthimos movie, or even maybe a little bit of Quentin Dupieux, with films like Smoking Causes Coughing and Reality and a bunch of other films that I have yet to see, but I can tell that when it comes to that like awkward, bizarre, and like dark humor, that's the only filmmaker I could think of right now that kind of I can compare it to. But anyways, that's all I got to say about Kinds of Kindness. If you really enjoyed what I had to say about the film, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.